Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, the show that helps you sort through all of the trends, new and old, of the fitness world. We'll talk about yoga, running, Zumba, weightlifting, and everything in between. Whether you've got your fitness routine down to a science or you're just starting out and looking for direction, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Fitness Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Cynthia, and happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you all are having a fabulous day, evening, whatever time you are tuning in to this episode right now. I know it's been a minute since I've talked to y'all, and I know my voice sounds very husky right now. It actually has gotten better. I lost my voice like on Sunday or Saturday night, Sunday. No, I didn't party. Nothing exciting happened. Literally, like, this happens to me so often where my voice just like goes non-existent basically. And I think it's for several reasons why I lost my voice. It actually sounds better, believe it or not. Monday was so bad. I was literally like croaking. I could not get a word out. Like, you know, when you lose your voice and you like still have to go to work and try and like push out some type of sound out of your esophagus and it's just like not there. That was literally me all day Sunday and Monday. And I had to work both days. I had to teach classes and it was bad. You know, being a fitness instructor, you literally have to like project your voice, you know, to a class. And like, you have to sound confident and like your enthusiasm has to be there when you're instructing a class. And mine was just not there at all. But like everyone who came to my class on Sunday and Monday, they were very understanding. I mean, right off the bat, they knew. They were like, oh, like, girl, your voice, you know. Their first concern was like if it was COVID related, and I was like, nope, not COVID related. Like, I don't feel sick at all. My throat doesn't hurt, no itching, nothing like that. It's just literally like I just can't talk. Like, my voice is just gone. So, yeah, I mean, it actually sounds pretty good right now. It's still a little husky, but a lot better. I can actually like talk and, you know, not like be out of breath because I'm like trying to exert so much force trying to get sound coming out of my mouth. But anyway, besides all of that, I've had a good few weeks, a good day today. I had a bomb upper body day. Usually my upper body days are a hit or miss just because I am not the biggest fan of upper body. I know some of my ladies might understand, some may not. That's okay. I just find training upper body so boring. Like, of course, I'm going to sound like a typical, like, girl here, but I just, like, love training my lower body, my glutes. So when it comes to my upper body, I'm so, like, I get so lazy to do it. But I actually had a pretty decent workout today, so I feel good about that. But anyway, it's been a minute since I've talked to you guys, and I'm hopping on today to share with you guys this new lifestyle that I have been embarking on for the last 3 months or so. And that is the Pescatarian lifestyle, the Pescatarian diet. Okay, so I'm going to be explaining today on this episode what is a pescatarian and what do they eat? What does this diet consist of? Why do people choose a pescatarian diet? And so much more. So definitely stay tuned for the entire episode today. I'm really thrilled to talk about this subject. One, I myself am a pescatarian, and I'm loving it. As most of you probably were raised, I was raised eating like meat, poultry, dairy, eggs, all of that. And 6 years ago, I cut out dairy. And then I went vegan. Then I fell off vegan because I was not very educated on what a vegan diet consisted of. And I was trying to eat like animal-based products, but vegan style. So I was buying a lot of vegan cheese and vegan like fake meat, and like obviously consuming too much of that is not good for you either. It contains no nutritional benefit, you feel me? It's a lot of hormones because many of the vegan cheeses and vegan meats that you buy contain soy, and soy contains hormones, and too much of anything is not good for you. So I eventually ended up falling off being vegan. I was vegan for about 6 months' time. Went back to eating meat and poultry. Still was dairy-free though, so I still have not drank a sip of cow's milk in many, many years, and I just refuse to because it's disgusting. Okay. But then over the last probably 4 months, I went plant-based. So I was eating whole food, plant-based meals, but I was still missing something out of my diet, like, yes, I felt good. I was reducing my environmental impact on a plant-based diet. Yes, whole food, yada, 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 eating a lot more vegetables in a plant-based diet, but I was still missing some like zest, some flavor, you feel me? Like I didn't feel whole, which is ironic because I was eating whole plant-based foods. And that's because I was missing my seafood. Like I love seafood, okay? Seafood is something I am not willing to compromise. I just will not cut it out. I love sushi. I love fish. I love shrimp. I love, oh my God, my absolute favorite food on this entire planet is crab meat. Okay, like king crab, thick meat, Cajun style. Like, oh my God, my mouth is literally salivating right now. I don't know if it's because I'm dehydrated or if it's because I'm actually very hungry right now. But regardless, crab meat is like, I just cannot picture my life without crab meat or without sushi. Like, absolutely not. And that is why I turned to a pescatarian diet. I found a happy medium between consuming a whole food plant-based diet, but also still keeping the foods that I love. Cutting out meat and poultry was actually a very easy decision for me to do, a very easy transition for me. I already wasn't consuming red meat. I hadn't for many, many years, except for my once in a while family reunions. We'd have carne asada, typical Mexican tradition. But with this whole COVID stuff, I actually haven't had any reunions this year, which sucks because I miss my family so much. We're very tight, close-knit. We all live within a 20-mile radius from one another, so it is definitely weird to not hang out. But anyway, with that being said, it was a very easy transition for me to just eliminate meat. I don't know. I just don't crave it at all. So again, I am very pleased with my pescatarian decision so far. I'm still, consuming all the foods that I love, but in a healthy way. I'm still getting all the nutrients that I need. And for those of you who are sitting there scratching your head like, okay, girl, what is a pescatarian diet? What do you eat? In a nutshell, a pescatarian is someone who adds fish and seafood to a vegetarian diet. There are many reasons, people choose to forego meat and poultry but still eat fish, which again, we'll get into those reasons throughout today's episode. Some people choose to add fish to a vegetarian diet so they can get the health benefits of a plant-based diet plus heart-healthy fish, aka me. And others might be trying to curb, the environmental impact of their diet. And for some, it might be simply a matter of taste. Me personally, I feel like I'm a combination of all three. I eat majority of my meals are plant-based, but I do like to add fish, seafood in my diet for that heart healthy kick. I do also prefer fish over meat for environmental reasons. And just, again, taste. I told y'all, like, I'm not giving up the Cajun style crab meat. Like, absolutely not. So we're going to come to a very brief break right now, y'all. And when we come back, we're going to explain more about the benefits and drawbacks of a pescatarian diet, including exactly what a pescatarian does and doesn't eat.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. So I gave you guys the basic rundown on what is a pescatarian, right? And most simply put, a pescatarian is someone who doesn't eat meat but does eat fish. In most simplistic term, that's all what a pescatarian means. The term pescatarian was coined in the early 1990s and is a combination of the Italian word for fish, pesce, and the word vegetarian. Sometimes it's spelled Pescetarian, but this means the same thing. Pescatarian, as we are probably more familiar with here in the U.S., is spelled Pescatarian. Nonetheless, if it's spelled with an A or spelled with an E, it's pronounced the same, and they both mean the same thing, right? Pescatarian. So, fun fact as well, in Spanish, fish in Spanish is pescado, pescatarian. So, pece, the Italian word for fish, is Latin derived. Fun fact. I know this isn't the linguistic podcast, but I still wanted to just share that information with y'all. In scientific literature, this diet is often described as pesco-vegetarian and is lumped into the spectrum of vegetarianism. By that definition, a pescatarian is someone who chooses to eat a vegetarian diet but who also eats fish and other seafood. It's a largely plant-based diet of whole grains, nuts, legumes, produce, and healthy fats, with seafood playing a key role as a main protein source. Many pescatarians also eat dairy and eggs. I, for one, do not. I do not eat dairy and eggs, and which is really crazy. I used to eat eggs religiously every single morning. And at the time, I didn't think I could cut out eggs. Like, I was like, this is literally a part of my ritual, a part of my routine. Like, what else am I going to eat? But I actually have found other alternatives, and now I eat, like, usually my breakfast is plant-based, so it's very simple as well because I usually got to jet out in the morning super early to teach classes. So I usually eat avocado toast on an everything bagel with hummus and coffee, a couple cups of coffee because I love coffee. And I'm like good to go. And it's really wild because I used to like I said, like I never thought I'd be that person that I would be able to cut out eggs. And I feel fine. Like I don't really think about eggs. I don't really crave it. And it's just really, I never thought I would change my diet this much, but nonetheless, I'm very happy with where I'm at and my decisions in my diet. And of course, just as vegetarian diets can vary widely, so can pescatarian ones. It's possible to eat a meat-free diet that's full of processed starches, junk food, and fish sticks, rather than a healthier one based on whole foods. So again, just to reiterate, a pescatarian is someone who follows a mostly vegetarian diet, but also eats fish and seafood. So now that I ran it down for you guys on what is a pescatarian and what they don't consume in the most simplistic terms, let's discuss why. Why do people choose a pescatarian diet? And there are several reasons why people may choose to go this route. And the first is health reasons, health benefits. There are many proven health benefits to a plant-based diet, including a lower risk of obesity and chronic diseases like heart disease and diabetes, which unfortunately are very, very common here in the United States. According to research, you can get many of those protective benefits from a pescatarian diet too. One study found that women who were pescatarians gained 2.5 pounds or 2.5 fewer pounds each year than women who ate meat. And people who shifted their diet in a more plant-based direction gained the least amount of weight, showing that reduced your animal consumption may be good for you no matter your current eating patterns. Another study concluded that pescatarians had a lower risk of developing diabetes at 4.8% compared to omnivores at 7.6%. Additionally, one large study looked at people who ate meat rarely or were pescatarians, and they had a 22% lower risk of dying from heart disease compared to regular meat eaters. So those are the numbers, those are the facts. So that's one of the main reasons why people choose a pescatarian diet, for the health benefits. And the second most common why is for environmental concerns. Okay? So raising livestock such as cows and bull, beef, all that. It comes with a high environmental cost. According to the United Nations, raising livestock contributes to 15% of all human-made carbon emissions. In contrast, producing fish and seafood has a lower carbon footprint than producing any type of animal meat or cheese. So, if you guys are not aware, the meat and dairy industries, they are the number one contributing factor to all human-made carbon emissions, aka global warming, aka climate change. They are the number one contributors to carbon emissions on top of driving, gas vehicles and trash and all of that stuff, okay? You can look that up. That's facts. A 2014 study calculated that diets of fish eaters cause 46% less greenhouse gas emissions than the diets of people who ate at least a serving of meat a day. So that is the second why, environmental concerns. And thirdly, people choose the pescatarian route for ethical reasons. Ethics can be a major reason why people choose to go vegetarian. It can be a major reason for pescatarians too. Some of the ethical reasons people choose not to eat meat include opposing slaughter. They don't want to kill animals for food. Inhumane factory practices. They refuse to support factory farms that raise livestock in inhumane conditions. Poor labor conditions is another one. They refuse to support factory farms that have poor conditions for their workers. And lastly, overall humanitarian reasons. They consider producing grain for animal feed an unjust use of land and resources when there's so much hunger in the world, and that grain can be allocated to those people in starvation, in hunger. So eliminating land animals from your diet addresses some of these ethical concerns. And that said, aquaculture and overfishing can also be problematic. So let me just say really quick, a quick disclaimer, a couple of things. One, I am not saying that pescatarians are more elite than meat eaters because we have a less carbon footprint because we choose to eat fish over meat. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm just stating the facts. And the facts are that meat produces the most carbon emissions on the planet. Those are facts. I'm not here trying to convince you to switch pescatarian diet. I'm just simply sharing the facts, sharing with you my experience, sharing with you what it is. Okay? Second thing. Eating fish, aquaculture, we also contribute to some degree to gas emissions, to global warming. Okay? The only truly effective way to completely eliminate your carbon footprint through diet is by eating a plant-based diet. Okay? So those are just a couple things I had to get off my chest right now before some of y'all come at me at the comments and are like, why are you trying to convince us to do this? Why are you saying that? Yada, yada, yada. I'm not trying to do anything to y'all. I'm just stating the facts, sharing with you what it is. Okay? Now that I got that out the way, let me go back to our regularly scheduled program. So like I said, these are really the three main reasons why people choose a pescatarian diet. Okay? Health benefits, environmental concerns, and ethical reasons such as not wanting to support poor labor conditions, not wanting to support animal slaughter, not wanting to support inhumane factory practices. There's really a lot of motive as to why people choose to go pescatarian or vegetarian and vegan. And with that being said, Monterey Bay Aquarium's Seafood Watch program is an excellent source for finding fish that are caught or farmed in ethical ways. So for all of my pescatarians out there, if you want to take it an extra step further and really make sure that the fish you're buying is, ethically raised, caught, and farmed, then check out Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch program online, and it'll give you all the info there. So you guys, we're going to come to a very brief break right now. And when we come back, I'm going to share with you guys what pescatarians eat, what they don't eat, and some of the benefits of adding fish to a vegetarian diet. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey guys, welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. So we're just going to dive straight into it. What do pescatarians eat? Pescatarians, a typical pescatarian diet, as I mentioned multiple times already in these 25 minutes of this episode, a typical pescatarian diet is primarily vegetarian with the addition of seafood, okay? So what does that look like? Pescatarians eat whole grains and grain products. They eat legumes and their products, including beans, lentils, tofu, and hummus. Nuts and nut butters, peanuts and seeds including hemp, chia, and flax seeds. Dairy, including yogurt, milk, and cheese. Fruits, vegetables, fish and shellfish, and eggs, okay? Again, this is what majority of pescatarians eat. Again, I myself do not consume dairy or eggs, but other pescatarians do. Now, what do they not eat? What's on the absolutely no list of pescatarians? So pescatarians do not eat beef, chicken, pork, lamb, turkey, or wild game. So again, a healthy pescatarian diet is largely made up of minimally processed plant foods plus seafood and possibly dairy and eggs. So now that we got that out of the way, let's discuss the benefits of adding fish to a vegetarian diet. Or just to your diet in general. You don't even have to be vegetarian. You can be a meat eater. And maybe you're like, I don't know, weirded out by fish, because I know people who are like that. And that's crazy to me, because I just think like you're totally just missing out on the flavor of life when you don't eat fish or seafood in general. So there are many, many health benefits of adding fish to your diet. And many people are concerned that completely excluding animal products or avoiding animal flesh could lead to a low intake of certain key nutrients, right? I know, especially in the fitness industry, we're all chasing the gains. We're all trying to reach Gainesville, right? And that's the biggest worry, I'd say, that I hear from people in regards to eliminating meat or like being vegan, being vegetarian, whatever the case may be. They are afraid that they are not going to get sufficient amount of protein. And it's really wild to me, because here in the United States, hardly anyone, almost no one in the United States carries a protein deficiency. Meaning almost nobody here in the United States has a low intake of protein. If anything, we have an incredibly high amount of protein, and we actually consume too much of it. Okay? So for all of my gym goers, my fitness fanatics listening right now, you can absolutely still attain the desired physique that you are striving for on a vegan diet, on a vegetarian diet, without eating, fish or meat or any animal-based products. It's absolutely possible. Is it more challenging? Yeah, probably. But it's doable and it's attainable. In particular, besides protein, many people are also concerned of not getting vitamins B12, zinc, and calcium. Again, this can somewhat be harder to get on a vegan diet, but it's not impossible. And adding seafood, including fish, crustaceans, and mollusks, to a vegetarian diet can provide beneficial nutrients and variety, right? So I think that's a really big one when it comes to finding the ideal diet or lifestyle diet, I like to call it, because choosing the right diet is a lifestyle, right? It shouldn't be something short term. Choosing a diet is something that you are able to live happily through every single day of your life. And I think what contributes to that happiness with food is adding variety to your diet. And I think that was my issue when I was eating, or when I was plant-based. I was eating all of these whole foods. I was eating really healthy. I was eating a lot more vegetables, which is great. But I felt like I was missing something in my diet. Like I was missing some spice. I was missing some flavor or something. And that's because I had eliminated at the time seafood. And why would I do that if I love seafood? I'm not going to just eliminate seafood because it's the quote unquote healthiest thing to do. Like, no, I'm sorry. There are other ways I can be healthy without eliminating foods that I love. Okay? So with that being said, one main health benefit of adding fish to your diet is getting those omega-3s, right? Eating fish is the best way to get the omega-3 fatty acids. And I'm going to dedicate some time right now to dive a little bit deeper into omega-3 fatty acids because they are so incredibly important and they have many powerful health benefits for your body and brain. And especially for your lifts, this is very much needed. In fact, few nutrients have been studied as thoroughly as omega-3 fatty acids. So right now, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into some of these health benefits of omega-3 fatty acids that are supported by science. And the number one thing is that omega-3s can actually fight depression and anxiety. Depression is one of the most common mental disorders in the world, you guys. Symptoms include sadness, lethargy, and a general loss of interest in life. Anxiety is another common disorder and is characterized by constant worry and nervousness. Interestingly, studies indicate that people who consume omega-3s regularly are less likely to be depressed. What's more, when people with depression or anxiety start taking omega-3 supplements, their symptoms improve. There are 3 types of omega-3 fatty acids. There's ALA, EPA, and DHA. Of the 3, EPA appears to be the best at fighting depression. One study even found EPA as effective against depression as a common antidepressant drug. Pretty crazy, right? So that's the first thing about omega-3 fatty acids. The second health benefit about this nutrient is that it can improve eye health. DHA, which is a type of omega-3 I just mentioned, is a major structural component of the retina of your eye. When you don't get enough DHA, vision problems may arise. Interestingly, getting enough omega-3 is linked to a reduced risk of macular degeneration, one of the world's leading causes of permanent eye damage and blindness. Number 3, omega-3s can promote brain health during pregnancy and early life. Omega-3s are crucial for brain growth and development in infants, right? DHA accounts for 40% of the polyunsaturated fatty acids in your brain and 60% in the retina of your eye. Therefore, it's no surprise that infants fed a DHA fortified formula have better eyesight than infants fed a formula without it. Getting enough omega-3s during pregnancy is associated with numerous benefits for your child, including higher intelligence, better communication and social skills, fewer behavioral problems, decreased risk of developmental delay, and decreased risk of ADHD, autism, and cerebral palsy. And omega-3s can improve risk factors for heart disease. Heart attacks and strokes are the world's leading causes of death. Decades ago, researchers observed that fish-eating communities had very low rates of these diseases, and this was later linked to omega-3 consumption. Since then, omega-3 fatty acids have been tied to numerous benefits for heart health, and these benefits address triglycerides. Omega-3s can cause a major reduction in triglycerides, usually in the range of 15 to 30%. Blood pressure. Omega-3s can reduce blood pressure levels in people with high blood pressure. Good HDL cholesterol. Omega-3s can raise good HDL cholesterol levels. Blood clots. Omega-3s can keep blood platelets from clumping together, and this helps prevent the formation of harmful blood clots. Plaque. By keeping your arteries smooth and free from damage, omega-3s help prevent the plaque that can restrict and harden your arteries. Inflammation. Omega-3s reduce the production of substances released during your body's inflammatory response. For some people, omega-3s can also lower bad LDL cholesterol. However, evidence is mixed. Some studies find increases in LDL. So again, I know I just threw a lot of information, science-based benefits of omega-3 fatty acids with you guys. So I hope y'all were able to retain that info. And we're going to come to a very brief break right now. And when we come back, we're going to continue on the conversation of more benefits of adding fish to your diet.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. So we just dove really deeply into omega-3s, right? Omega-3 fatty acids and why they are so incredibly important to, incorporate into your diet. And I had already listed all the benefits. And again, that's one of the main reasons why people eat fish. Another reason and benefit of adding fish to your diet is, of course, to boost your protein intake. Especially for those who are worried about protein intake, you can still get an adequate amount of protein by eating fish rather than meat. Here's a fun fact for all of my meatheads, fitness fanatics out there who are worried about their protein consumption. Humans only need about 0.8 grams of protein per 2.2 pounds of body weight daily to stay healthy. That's about 54 grams for a 150-pound person. However, many people prefer to eat more protein than that. A high-protein diet can be hard to achieve with just plant proteins, especially if you don't want extra carbs or fat with your protein. Fish and other seafood offer an excellent source of lean protein. And seafood is packed with other nutrients, okay? So beyond omega-3s and protein, seafood is rich in several other nutrients. For instance, oysters are extremely high in vitamin B12, zinc, and selenium. Just one oyster delivers 133% of the RDI, or recommended daily intake, for vitamin B12 and 55% of the RDI for zinc and selenium. Mussels are also super rich in vitamin B12 and selenium, as well as manganese and the rest of the B vitamins. White fish varieties such as cod and flounder don't deliver much omega-3 fats, but they are a source of extremely lean protein. For example, just 3 ounces of cod provide 19 grams of protein and less than a gram of fat. Cod is also an excellent source of selenium and a good source of phosphorus, niacin, and vitamins B6 and B12. And lastly, or really quick before I get into the last option here, really random. I am a seafood lover, right? As that is why I'm doing this episode. But the one seafood that I cannot get into and that I just physically cannot swallow are oysters. It's the texture for me. It's like too slimy, too gooey. I have a thing with like gooey food. Like even when I cook or bake my fish or food, like I like it really like crunchy and hard. I like texture in my food, and I don't like slimy texture. And that's why I can't get into oysters. I tried oysters before with my boyfriend. He loves oysters. And I physically felt sick. I could not swallow it. Like I felt so let me know in the comments if any of you guys are the same way as me. Like, do you like oysters? Do you not? I don't know what it is. I just can't do it. I have heard people have recommended to me to try fried oysters instead. So I'm gonna have to try that because I have to see if there's a difference. People say it tastes better, especially texture-wise. So anyways, super random. I just had to throw that in there. But yes, those are the main benefits of adding fish to your diet. You're getting that amazing omega-3 fatty acid complex in there. You're boosting your protein intake. Seafood in general is packed with other nutrients besides the omega-3 and besides the protein. And an extra bonus, you'll have extra options, right? Being a vegetarian or being vegan can be limiting at times. I would know because I walked in those shoes before. And eating out at restaurants often leaves you with a not so healthy choice with dishes like cheesy pasta as the main veggie option or French fries, right? Because they're vegan. If health at least partially motivates your food choices, then becoming pescatarian will give you more options. And fish is generally a good one, especially if you get it baked, grilled, or sauteed, as opposed to deep fried. So adding seafood to a vegetarian diet gives you more options and is a good way to get protein, omega-3s, and other nutrients. So I just gave y'all the good stuff about being pescatarian, right? I gave y'all all the fluff, the positives. Now let's mention some of the drawbacks of the diet. There are not many health drawbacks of this diet that are like super, super alarming. That said, some people may be more vulnerable to high intakes of fish. Fish, especially larger species, can contain mercury and other toxins. For this reason, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, recommends that young children and women of childbearing age, especially pregnant and nursing women, should avoid tilefish, swordfish, shark, and king mackerel. These populations should also limit albacore and yellowfin tuna to 1 palm-sized serving or less per week. Light tuna is lower in mercury, and it's fine to eat 2 to 3 servings a week. Since this diet is primarily vegetarian, it's subject to some of the other traps that frequently accompany vegetarian diets. For instance, it can be easy to overeat carbs, especially if you rely on lots of processed grains, right? So, again, there can be some drawbacks to eating a pescatarian diet. It's easy to overeat carbs, and some fish are high in mercury, so we just have to be a little bit vigilant about that and making sure we don't eat and consume extremely high amounts of fish, especially, king mackerel, tilefish, those types of fish that I mentioned. Another concern that I actually hear a lot about consuming a pescatarian diet is that your sodium intake tends to skyrocket, right? Because seafood obviously comes from the ocean contains a lot and high amounts of salt water that's found in the fish. That's why seafood tends to have a higher sodium intake than other foods. So I guess that's a drawback, but also not, because we do need sodium in our diet anyway. But anyway, those are just some of the, I guess you can call, drawbacks of the diet. Not too many and not too severe. So here's the bottom line, you guys. A pescatarian diet can be quite healthy. And what's more, it lets you avoid some of the ethical and environmental issues related to diets that include meat. Additionally, this way of eating provides more flexibility and some additional nutrition compared to a standard vegetarian diet. Overall, eating a plant-based diet with some seafood is a healthy choice. So we're going to cut, you guys. With that being said, we're going to cut into a very brief break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the healthiest way and different methods to cook fish. We'll be right back.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to GSMC Fitness Podcast. We are now entering the final segment of today's show, and we're going to be discussing the healthiest way to cook fish and the different methods, right? So, as we all know, as I've said multiple times throughout today's episode, fish is a really healthy food choice. Eating it regularly may lower your risk of a number of health conditions, including heart disease, stroke, and depression. Because of this, health professionals often recommend that people eat fish at least once or twice a week. However, the way you cook your fish can change its nutritional composition, so some cooking methods may be better for your health than others. And right now, we're going to explore how different cooking methods may change the nutritional value of your fish and examines which methods are healthiest. So again, why fish is so healthy. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I just want to reiterate some of the key main points I've mentioned throughout today's episode. And there are many types of fish, all with different nutrition profiles. In general, they are divided into two categories, lean and fatty. Both are considered nutritious and a great source of high quality protein. But fatty fish are thought to be especially important for health. This is because they contain some important nutrients, including omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D. Currently, around 40% of people have low levels of vitamin D. This has been linked to a higher risk heart disease, diabetes, cancer, dementia, and autoimmune diseases. The best way to get vitamin D is through sun exposure. However, fatty fish are one of the few food sources of vitamin D and can contribute a good amount. Your body and brain also need omega-3 fatty acids to function at their best. In fact, getting enough omega-3s has been linked with a number of health benefits, including a decreased risk of heart disease and some cancers. These special fats may also slow down the decline in brain function that people commonly experience as they age. Eating lean fish may also have health benefits. Some studies have linked it to a lower risk of metabolic syndrome and reduced risk factors for heart disease. There are some of the reasons why health experts recommend eating fish at least once or twice a week. Let's discuss the first cooking method, and it's grilling and broiling. They're both very similar cooking methods, right? And they both involve applying dry heat to your food at very high temperatures. The main difference between the two methods is that grilling applies heat from below and broiling applies it from above. Both methods are a fast way to cook really tasty fish without adding any fats. Unfortunately, both grilling and broiling are known to cause the formation of some harmful compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These two types of compounds form when muscle tissue from meat or fish is heated to very high temperatures, particularly over an open flame. However, the risks associated with these compounds have only been linked to high intakes of red or processed meat. Eating fish hasn't been associated with the same risks. Grilling and broiling may also result in the formation of compounds called advanced glycation end products. These compounds form naturally in your body as you age, but can also form in muscle-containing foods like meat and fish when they are cooked at high temperatures. High levels of AGEs have been linked to a range of diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. To reduce your exposure to these compounds, avoid cooking with an open flame, try to keep your cooking times as short as possible, and avoid charring meat. Additionally, applying a marinade to your fish before you grill it may help reduce the formation of HAs and pH. Pan frying and deep frying. Pan frying and deep frying are high temperature cooking methods that use hot fat. Deep frying involves submerging food in a large amount of fat, while pan frying uses a much smaller amount of fat in a skillet, wok, or pot. During frying, fish will absorb some of the fat, increasing its calorie content and changing the types of fat it contains. Cooking your fish in an oil, such as vegetable oil, that contains high amounts of omega-6 fatty acids can increase its content of inflammatory omega-6s. This has been shown to happen to a greater degree in fish that has been deep fried rather than pan fried, due to the larger amount of oil used. In general, lean fish also tends to absorb more oil than fatty fish. The high temperatures during frying also damage the healthy omega-3 fatty acids in fish more than other cooking methods do. In fact, one study found that frying tuna decreased the amount of beneficial omega-3 fatty acids by 70 to 85%. That's very high. However, it seems that these effects can vary depending on which species of fish you cook. Other studies have found that some fish, such as herring, may still contain beneficial amounts of omega-3s after they're fried. Other nutrients may be at risk too, as one study found that frying salmon reduced the amount of vitamin D it contained by half. The high temperatures of frying may also cause more of the harmful compounds like HAs and PAHs and AGEs to form. Overall, pan frying is considered healthier than deep frying due to the smaller amount of oil it uses. Additionally, it's best to choose an oil that's stable at high heat and will add healthier fats to your fish. Olive oil is one healthy option. Lastly, let's discuss poaching and steaming. Poaching and steaming are cooking methods that use water or other liquids during the cooking process. Poaching involves submerging your fish in a liquid such as water, milk, stock, or wine while cooking in the oven. Steaming is often carried out in a specially designed pot or appliance and uses hot, vaporized water to cook your fish. Neither poaching nor steaming add oil or fat to the fish, so using these methods won't add calories or change the fats in your fish. Poaching and steaming also cook fish at slightly lower temperatures than other methods, which helps preserve nutrients and is thought to minimize the formation of harmful chemicals like HAs and PAHs. One study suggested that the longer cooking time required to steam fish may increase the number of cholesterol oxidation products. These are potentially harmful compounds formed when cholesterol is heated. However, both steaming and poaching are considered healthy since their lower temperatures and lack of cooking fat help preserve the beneficial omega-3 fatty acids in fish better than other cooking methods. And of course, we have other methods such as baking, microwaving, etc. So, with all of that being said, which method should you choose? Which method should you choose to preserve the nutritional profile of fish? And overall, the healthiest cooking methods limit the loss of healthy omega-3 fats. They retain the most nutrients and minimize the formation of harmful compounds, okay? So in general, that means that microwaving, baking, steaming, and poaching your fish are your best bets. On the other hand, deep frying fish is the least healthy cooking method. So really try to avoid that at all costs, unless you're going to like the fair or something and they have that and it's like your cheat meal, cheat day, whatever, let it slide. But for the most part, when you cook your fish, choose microwaving, baking, steaming, and poaching. So you guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Fitness Podcast. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode regarding all things pescatarians and how it can relate to your fitness lifestyle. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, because that tremendously helps the show. And I'll catch you guys here next week.
You've been listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, and any app where you listen to podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, we cover it all. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and listen to these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.